Hey guys, good morning. Yeah, I just got my beautiful bull here back from my taxidermist a couple days ago. So I thought I'd show him off. He's beautiful, and I love the memories around animals like this. That's why I mount any animals, is because I can tell you exactly who I was with, where I was at, what the animal was doing. It's my way of paying tribute to the animal. Some people may think that's weird. Some anti hunters, that's fine. I don't care, whatever. But today, just as this animal, I want to talk about gratitude. And I think it's something that's not maybe talked about enough, and certainly either not understood or misunderstood. And so I want to talk to you about this from two different angles. I want to talk to you first about my personal gratitude and my personal gratitude journey. And you know, when you do stuff like this, I mean, social media is not my thing, right? It's extremely uncomfortable for me, like I know it would be for a lot of you. However, I know that my purpose here, especially in these later years in my life, I know my purpose is to help inspire people to want to thrive in the last third of their life. That's all. That's my whole mission. However I can do that, um, it doesn't matter to me. That's why I wrote the book, The Anti-Fragile Man. That's why I train people or coach people. But I have to tell you that, when you do stuff like this, sometimes you wonder, is if what you're putting out there really lands, or is it really making a difference, or are you just talking to yourself, right? And what I have to tell you is, there's occasions where I'll be out at a restaurant, or I'll be at the gym, or just walking down the street, and somebody will come up to me and go, hey, I just, you don't know me, but I read your book, or I listened to whatever you did, some sort of content, and it really made a difference in my life, and I'm changing this or that because of it. I can't tell you how valuable that is, how much I appreciate that. Because when you do what I do, my clients, they're like family to me. Okay, so we have that connection, and I know, because I see it, we're making a huge difference there. I know it, and I see it all the time, and I see the things they accomplish and how their life was before the program and how it is after. Again, not from an ego standpoint, but from a practicality and a life standpoint. And so I see the difference there, but sometimes it's like, is anybody even listening? Do they care? And so when people say, hey, I saw this or that and it really made a difference in my life, I just want you to know that kind of stuff, it deeply affects me. It really does. And it inspires me to keep doing what I'm doing, and to even double down. And the other side of that coin is, you guys have to realize that you guys inspire me, right? I'm not going to slack off. I'm not going to not go to the gym. I'm not going to quit trying to post things like this to help people understand some of these concepts. I'm not going to quit that, because I know that it's helping you guys. And when I see you guys change, that inspires me. It keeps me on my toes. It makes me, if there's times, yes, I'm human, it's like, I don't really feel like going to the gym today. It's like, no, I owe it to people to do that. That's who I am. That's my identity. That's what I preach. So I'm going to absolutely not be a hypocrite and do that. So it inspires me at the same time, but I also acknowledge reality. There's going to be haters. Look, it's election day. There's going to be 50% of the people, if you're lucky, that like you, and 50% that hate you. A lot of times it's even more skewed than that, right? And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I learned from some of my mentors like Jim Rohn, Dr. Wayne Dyer, years ago, that the analogy, one of them, I can't remember which one it was, used was, if you squeeze an orange, what's going to come out? You wouldn't squeeze an orange and expect lime juice or banana juice or motor oil to come out. You'd expect orange juice to come out if you squeeze an orange. And so the analogy would be, what happens when you get squeezed, when you get life's pressures put on you? What comes out? Does problem solving come out? Does anger come out? Does fear come out? All of these things, we need to really pay attention to those things, because when anything comes out of you other than gratitude and love, there could be a problem. We need to pay more attention to our emotions. Okay, so next time you get squeezed, just kind of pay attention to what comes out. And if something comes out of you that you're not proud of later on, maybe that's something you need to work on. And we all can get better from that as well. But even though that criticism can sting, it can also be a huge growth opportunity. So that's why we have to, that's why we have to be aware of it. Any of this, whether you're an alcoholic or whatever, the first step, right, is just awareness. You have to be aware of the potential problem you have, and realize that it's that gratitude is what grounds and protects you from that negativity. If you're full of gratitude and somebody squeezes you or says something that you don't like, if it's not anger that comes out of you, and maybe compassion for that person because you realize there's a better way of thinking, that's where the money's at. So, like say the other thing that I want people to do is kind of an exercise real quick here, is I want you to think of some event in your life that just made you happy as could be. It could be a daughter getting married. It could be a child being born. It could be retiring. Whatever it is, what was a time in your life where you were really happy? I want you to think of that time. Just take a second and think of a time you were really happy and grateful. And I want you to close your eyes and think of that. And I promise you a smile will come across your face. It's just a natural part of being a human. You'll naturally start to smile, even the grumpiest of us. Okay, so I want you to think of that thing, close your eyes, really feel the feelings and the emotions around that time. And now I want you to frown. I promise you that feels so weird. You're gonna make these faces and contort your face like, oh, I can't do that. That doesn't line up. That's what I'm talking about. Our biology knows, our biochemistry knows when our feelings and our thoughts are lined up. You cannot think of something good. You can't be grateful for something and truly feel that and frown. You can't do that. And so, like I say, our biology knows it's time that we wake up and start to, become aware of these things. So let's look at some of the science behind gratitude. What's going on here? And the first thing to understand is this concept called neuroplasticity, which means there's connections between our nerves, between the vision that comes into our eyes and how we react to that. There's all these neural connections, and the most used pathways, just like the most used highways that get the most traffic, are the ones that are used the most, right? You don't go on a bumpy old dirt road if there's a paved road right next to it, unless you, like me, and you're taking your time and want to enjoy things, right? But you get the point here. These neural connections are a big deal. And so gratitude, just the feeling of gratitude, is what grounds and protects you from that negativity, okay? Like say, you literally can't frown while you're thinking about something that you're grateful for. But you can actually measure these things, that your stress hormones, the cortisol, when you're grateful about something, just tanks. The stress hormone just goes away completely. And things like serotonin and dopamine, all the feel-good hormones, they go through the roof. So our bodies understand this. It's just our minds that get confused sometimes. And I talk about resistance training all the time, you know, getting yourself out of your comfort zone, lifting heavy things. But resistance training, it's really, you know, it's this that I'm talking about, this gratitude is a form of mental resistance training, right? Your stress becomes your fuel and not a setback, right? The definition of antifragility. And so the other thing that we need to understand is that contrast is okay. We need the quote unquote bad to be able to define the quote unquote good, right? The other thing to understand, there really is no bad or good. It's just our reaction to that. And that's the other thing people need to understand is nobody else can stress you out. The only way that they can stress you out is because of the way you react to something they did or something they said. If you don't react in an anger, you know, or a fear or any of that stuff, if you're not when you get squeezed, if that anger and fear comes out, that's how you're going to react, and that's going to stress you out. But it had nothing to do with them. It's just simply your reaction to that. And that's why, you know, we need both the good and the bad, but I'm just trying to remind you that you know, nobody can stress you out. It's only how you react to what happens in your life that stresses you out. So if you link this back to anti-fragility, you know, gratitude, it just helps you get stronger instead of not breaking from these setbacks. Okay, so how do we do this? How can we practice this? How can we get better at this? I keep a gratitude journal. Okay, it's right here. It's close by all the time. Mine looks like this. Got my brand on there. It's nice leather bound. Nice leather bound journal. I suggest that rather than using, this is important. This is kind of your life story. This is how you conduct yourself. So don't have an old spiral notebook or some, notepad or something. Get a nice journal, nice leather bound, something with replaceable pages so you can keep it for years. And I promise you, it's something that you will treasure now and as you go back and look at things. But keep a gratitude journal. Write down, start easy. Write down one thing a day you're grateful for. It could be the roof over your head. It could be the fact that you have a warm bed. It could be that you were born in the United States. If you're born in the United States, you already won the lottery. I hate to break it to you, but there's all this political strife, and you already won the lottery if you were born in the United States. If you don't believe me, just travel to some of these other countries, okay? And the second part of this is when you write something down in your gratitude journal, feel it, right? Again, our feelings are what moves the needle. It's not the superficial act of writing something down. It's how we feel about what we wrote down, how we feel about how we respond to people, how we feel about certain things that happen in our life. That's where we can actually get in touch with who we really are, our essence, and that's how we can change the things that we don't like about what we have. That also, remember, you can't frown and be grateful for something at the same time. So just take anything you write down, take 10 seconds, close your eyes, and literally feel the feeling of gratitude. It changes your whole biology. And then use that to review fairly often. Go back and look at those things that you're grateful for. Sometimes we keep going to the next level, but we forget where we came from. And so it's really important that's why it's so important to keep a journal, because it's a written record for you. And the other part of this, and the last part I want to talk about, is this is for posterity. It's just not for you, not just for you. So I would be cautious about what you write in your journal, because that's a written record of you and your life and who you are. That doesn't mean don't be real, but hopefully someday my kids and grandkids and great-grandkids will find value in the things that I've written in my journal. They'll find some wisdom in there, and it will actually help them in their life. Yeah, there's all this AI and all this stuff happening with technology, but you can't get away from this. This has been happening since biblical times, okay? And these are some of the best records we have about how to conduct ourselves and how to help other people live their best life. So I hope that makes sense. And as with everything, just like reading my book, I don't care for you to read my book just to read my book. I want you to take the book, I want you to take this content and actually do something. I know when I go to any continuing education, I always write down 3 things at the end of the 2 days or whatever it is, 3 things that I'm actually going to change as a result of what I learned. Okay, so I would just hope that you would go get yourself a gratitude journal. If you don't have it, you can also use that as a diary to document your life. Use it, go back, reflect on it, and I promise you, you won't regret it moving forward. So I appreciate everybody listening today. If you have any questions about that, comments, again, I don't care if it's negative or positive, if this moved you in any way or helped you cause an action that's going to help you, let me know. We appreciate the feedback, and after all, this is about a community. It's not about me. It's not about my ego and how great I am. It's simply the lessons that I've learned that I want to share with other people, and through the community, again, I get as much out of this as you do, hopefully. So take care, and we'll talk next week.